going to start it with, and that's the most disgusting joke that Andy hates. All right, just let me know.
Oh, we're already going.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, so that's the most disgusting joke that Andy hates.
It got you saying that already.
Okay.
So
What is this kid's doing?
now people are I don't know, but now people are going to know that you were trying to set up a bit.
Anyway, Andy's got to go.
Bye, guys.
So there goes Andy. Got the peace sign. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Have fun. So anyway, welcome to Post-Show Bullshit.
Post-Show Bullshit.
Post-Show Bullshit. So it's just me and Mike on this episode of Post-Show Bullshit. We didn't have a Post-Show Bullshit last week.
Because Audacity sucks.
Yeah, we learned the hard way that
Turns out when I'm
Audacity's
not
the
here
worst.
to record, things go wrong.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen. We tried. We tried so hard.
You tried.
We were recording on location
Yeah.
last week. So
there was a lot of stuff that was different.
yeah. So
Not just the DAW being used. Shout out to PreSonus Studio One because that's what I use. So
yeah,
that's good.
and even though we almost had some technical difficulties with it right here at the beginning.
Yeah, but that was probably my fault.
Right. Anyway, people are only listening to this to hear us talk about funny, interesting shit.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get sponsored by PreSonus because
that's fair.
Get some good stuff. From them.
So what's up, PreSonus? How you doing?
Yeah, I might need to upgrade to Studio One 4 because I just found out today that exists.
Right.
I knew 3 existed, but I'm on 2. So
right, that's fair.
Yeah, but now that
time to
4's out,
upgrade.
now that 4's out, it's probably time to upgrade.
Yeah. So you didn't see, and I told you about it a second ago. Fucking Daredevil season 3 is coming out in like less than a month, and I'm fucking stoked about it, my dude. Like, you haven't seen the trailer or anything for it?
No, I haven't seen the trailer. At all.
It's very content light. It's really just Charlie Cox staring at the camera with like blood coming out of his mouth.
Honestly, that's probably for the best.
Right? It's basically it's like 50 seconds of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks it's gonna be dope. I know it's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's the one series so far in Marvel Netflix that has not disappointed at all.
Any way, season 2 was.
Season 2, I thought this is where we have to disagree because I thought season 2 was better.
The first half of it, absolutely,
yeah,
but like
it
just kind of
was better than season 1.
Kind of fell apart at the end.
I didn't think so.
Plus, I almost feel like
to put it this way, in both seasons of Daredevil and The Punisher, those are the shows I've been interested 100% of the way through. Jessica Jones had the season 1 just because I haven't watched season 2 of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, or Iron Fist yet. So I'm talking specifically about season one of those. The first half of Jessica Jones was kind of meh, and then it took off in the last half. But man, did it take off! And so overall, that was an enjoyable show.
Right.
Luke Cage, the first half was really awesome. The last half was kind of meh.
Yeah.
And Iron Fist was, I won't say meh, slightly better than
it
meh.
wasn't weird enough.
It was the most consistent, I think, out of those 3.
It was consistently meh.
It was consistently all right. It
season
wasn't
2
amazing.
is
It wasn't amazing,
rocks,
but it wasn't as terrible as other people want to say it was. I mean, I watched all of it, so I mean, if it had been that bad, I wouldn't have finished it.
Oh, I watched all of Inhumans, and that was garbage.
That's fair. I didn't even bother starting Inhumans.
But Andy and I were watching American Vandal, which you said you have not seen yet.
No,
so
but I know
listeners,
about
if
it.
you have not seen this show or seen anything about it, it's a Netflix mockumentary series about these 2 high school kids who are trying to figure out who spray painted a bunch of dicks on cars in the teacher's parking lot.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Like, I know that sounds like, why would I watch that? But it is probably one of the best new shows that I have seen. Season 2 just came out like last week. And Andy and I fucking binge watched both of them. It was fucking great. But yeah. You know, maybe we should think about what we're going to talk about on post-show bullshit before we just hit record.
That would kind of defeat the purpose of it being bullshit, wouldn't it?
guess. Yeah.
I already knew some
How's
things
your
I was
day?
going to talk about. It's been all right. It's a little cooler than it was yesterday, and I'm happy about that personally. Because, I mean, I love summer, but it's almost the end of September. It's time for it to be fall.
Yeah.
Like, the first official day of fall was yesterday.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that.
Like, it's time. It's that classic Midwest seasons where it's like a Hobbit's meal plan, where it's like summer, then fall, but then second summer, which only lasts for about a week or two, and then real fall again, then winter, then second winter, which occasionally takes over spring. So sometimes we don't actually get a spring. Like this year, we didn't get a spring because it immediately went from me scraping snow off my car to being in the 70s and 80s the next week.
It's true.
That was genuinely what happened.
Yeah, it was a week's difference. Yeah,
it was. Oh man, the Midwest, man. And then it messes with my sinuses every time it does this.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I was listening to last week's episode because I listen to the episodes. And I had mentioned that I have a bum knee, right? And do you know what I did like
you
right
heard it
after
you heard it, yeah.
I hurt the other knee.
Yeah.
I don't have a bum knee anymore. I don't have any more
legs.
good knees. I don't have any more.
Yep.
So that's exciting. That's something that's happening. This is probably a really boring episode for the listeners at home, I imagine.
No, I mean I'm going to try and get to some cool stuff.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about the cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to bring this up at one point because Jeff and I normally like to go back and forth about bands because we'll do that on Facebook sometimes. He'll send me something and I'll send him something. I wanted to bring this up the last time he and I were on a show together, but we got sidetracked and I didn't. There's a band that listeners out there, if you're into metalcore at all, then I would suggest you check them out. They're called Ice Nine Kills. And Ice Nine Kills is what they're called. My band actually played a show with them almost exactly a year, like last October. And that's how I found them, and they were really fucking cool. But something that's cool about them is like they started out like your typical like.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Mike's band Akko Vendetta. The Akko Vendetta.
Yeah.
That's AKO.
If you're into metal, check us out. If you're not into metal, don't worry about it. That's not what I meant to click on. So, what I like about this band is like because when they started out, they were a pretty stereotypical generic like emo core band.
Okay.
Like a really like the quintessential
like early Bullet for My Valentine.
No, because what I mean because like early Bullet for My Valentine was like early metalcore in general. There was in the metalcore scene at least there was a huge shift around 2009 where the sound kind of changed and then every single band started sounding like that, which at the time Ice Nine Kills would have been one of those bands, but they had ended up going in a very different direction that's still very much metalcore, but they introduced like a lot of symphonic stuff, which I'm a sucker for.
Right.
But what's cool about them I like is they're one of the bands that actually I think have interesting and clever lyrics. What they did on their previous album, and they're kind of extending on this new album, and that's why it's relevant again, is because we'll get to that, is on their previous album, all of the songs were about classic literature and books that they liked growing up. So just running down the track list, because the album was called Every Trick in the Book.
Okay.
Which I had watched an interview with their singer Spencer, and he was talking about how that kind of, one, follows the whole book theme, but also is like kind of literally what they did, where they just like we just played on all the we obviously added some new stuff, but we just played on all the classic metalcore staples and things that you expect to hear out of a band that is this genre. But yeah, so like they have a song that starts off the album based on Animal Farm.
Okay.
They have
so that that sounds kind of like did you ever listen to, I don't think you did, Alisana?
No, I never really listened to them.
Pop-core band.
Yeah.
They're not great, but they were a pop-core band that was. They might still be together. I don't really know. I haven't listened to them since 2009, maybe. But their first album was all about Greek mythology. Their second album was all about folklore and fairy tales, and then the third one was fucking Edgar Allan Poe or something like that. Like just the works of Edgar Allan Poe. And then like now they're telling like this original story like with their music, which is sort of a Coheed and Cambria thing. But
Which so back to Ice Nine. So like basically like running down their track listing, they have a song based off of Animal Farm, The Exorcist, Dracula, Alive, the story about that plane that crashed in the Andes Mountains and the survivors had to eat each other to survive. Like they ate the dead people. The people who were still alive were pretty much safe. But yeah, so they got a song about that. Romeo and Juliet, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Go Ask Alice, which, if you don't know the book, from what I understand, because I researched this a little bit, is like that book was marketed as being a nonfiction book at first, like someone's actual diaries and stuff like that, but it turns out to probably actually be a fiction book.
Is that like
it's basically
a million little pieces?
I don't think so. Basically, it's if you think about if Requiem for a Dream were based on a book kind of thing. It's about rampant drug addiction and stuff.
Well, that's what a million little pieces is about, which was also mislabeled as nonfiction for a while.
Yeah, so like it was without going into the plot. I'm trying to remember this exactly. Yeah, it's about a teenage girl who develops a drug habit at the age of 15 and runs away from home on a self-destructive journey of escapism. Then they have a song based on the Diary of Anne Frank. Tess of the Dubervilles, which is the one that I was the least familiar with coming into this, and actually, like, this is one of the things where the synopsis actually sounds more interesting than it probably is to read, but it also got turned into a stage show, so I wasn't sure if you were familiar with that at all.
What is it called again?
It's called Tess of the Dubervilles, which is, like, about this 18th century English family who finds out they might have some French nobility in their bloodline, and the terrible things that happen to their eldest daughter throughout her life, essentially.
I have never heard of it.
Yeah, and then the last song was based on Carrie.
Okay.
Then they did this is one thing that I like about Ice Nine Kills is their music videos, I think, are just better than everyone's because they actually try to make them stories, which when a lot of people do them, they just come off as cheesy, but they do them really well, and I think they work because each video does have its own plot, they're all related in some way. So I thought that was really cool, which is something that they're doing on the new album, which in between that last album and the one that's coming out next month, they did a song based on The Shining.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of bridged the gap because
we were just talking about that in the episode.
So the new album is going to be, from the look of it at least, is going to be all about classic horror movies. So
gotcha. Okay.
So like The Shining being a classic novel and a classic horror movie, it seemed like the perfect transitionary song. But yeah, so the new album comes out next month, and it's relevant because they just released a new music video for it on yesterday, or what was it, Thursday? It was this week. It was this past week, which is cool because the first single they released was based on Nightmare on Elm Street. Then they did one based on Friday the 13th. The one that they just did, which threw me for a loop because I thought they were going to do Halloween or Scream. They did The Crow, which was a really cool idea. And there's going to be a fourth music video coming too, but I don't know what song it's going to be for and what it's going to be based on, but I'm excited to see that. So yeah, if you're out there interested in metalcore, look it up. But even if you're not, because I was hoping Andy was going to be here for it because I know that she's not really into metal, but I know she likes reading in horror movies, and honestly, their singer sounds like he should be singing. It sounds like he should be singing in Panic at the Disco or something like that. So if you can, they sound like if Panic at the Disco decided to become a metal band. Like, I mean, I wouldn't get the two confused back to back. Like, I'd be like, yeah, that's definitely this guy and that's definitely this guy, but it's reminiscent of.
Brendan Urie's got a great voice.
He's got a very unique voice, for sure.
Oh, it's better now.
I mean, I wasn't even using it as a slam. I'm saying he's got a very identifiable voice, and this guy kind of reminds me of him a little bit. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, if you're looking for any new music, I'd suggest checking them out.
Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, because they're one of those bands that if you don't listen to metal,
and also Ice Nine Kills, if you want to sponsor this podcast,
or if you want to take my band out on tour, that'd be pretty cool.
If you want to do both of these things,
that's pretty cool. I figured it'd be if you're looking for any new music because they're one of those bands I think that are good if you're really not into metal that much because they mix it up enough to where it doesn't seem like it's a slaughter fest the whole time. Because they have some like completely clean songs.
That's not the ones I like, you know.
Yeah, the ones that can do all kinds of different stuff, and they're definitely one of those bands because they have like a very theatrical vibe to some of their songs as well, which is like I said, is something I'm a sucker for. And then they have a couple songs that are just like all clean and everything, and it's really good. He's got a great voice, and the songwriting and lyrics are clever and interesting, so it's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of other new things that are out now.
Mm-hmm.
We just beat both of us individually, not collaboratively.
No, in different homes,
in different cities.
Yeah.
Fucking
Spider-Man
on PS4.
Yeah.
which was fucking. I don't want to spoil anything.
No, but
because it did just come out like 2 weeks ago.
It did just come out, and the ending is that good that I don't want that to be spoiled for anyone.
I'm really
the voice
excited.
acting sells it. So all the voice actors in that game, outstanding job.
Yeah,
that was honestly some of the best voice acting I've ever heard in any game I've ever played.
I'm really excited about the DLC that's coming out.
What's best about that voice acting, though, before we change on, is I'm familiar with a lot of the people who were voice actors in that game, and I did not recognize them at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I watch Critical Role a lot.
Oh, okay.
Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey are on it. They play Wilson Fisk and Mary Jane, and I did not hear that at all when I first saw them. I was like, that is incredible. And then a couple of the other cast members played additional voices in the game, but those were the main characters, at least, that were played by people.
Is Critical Role affiliated with Insomniac Studios?
I don't know, but they're all voice act. Like, I mean, the voice acting community, from what I understand, is pretty close. Pretty close. So like they all help each other out, getting different gigs and whatnot.
That's cool.
Especially when it's additional voice castings like that. When it's like, we just need someone to come in real quick and do some pickup lines and things that'll probably get procced once or twice in the game, or just as random bits of sound.
That's cool.
So
but yeah, it was dope. Captain Marvel trailer came out.
Yes, I saw the Captain Marvel trailer.
I watched it.
Good.
Yeah.
Because
I don't watch trailers.
You haven't watched a trailer for a Marvel movie in a long time.
Not since Spider-Man Homecoming came out.
Oh, you did watch the Spider-Man Homecoming
I
trailer?
did watch that one.
I thought it was longer. I thought it was like Winter Soldier long.
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, so I'm fucking stoked about that. Did you see, by the way, what Brie Larson, the criticism she was getting on Twitter was like,
what was she getting criticism for?
In the trailer, that she doesn't display a range of emotion.
It's a trailer.
It's first of all, it's less than 2 minutes, right?
Second, and it looked like all of that stuff that with her was coming out of a couple scenes,
right? And they
a lot of her dialogue was coming out of like the same scene.
Yeah. And like there was like a bunch of comments like, she's not smiling, and I'm like, she's a fucking brainwashed Kree soldier in this.
Yeah, she's been in space for a long time.
Like,
also, I love Brie Larson. So Brie Larson, if you want to sponsor this podcast,
but she fucking
Brie Larson, you're awesome. Like, that's for real.
She put her on her Instagram. I don't know if she photoshopped these or if like somebody else but they were on her Instagram at any rate. Photoshopped posters of Captain America, Iron Man 3, and Doctor Strange, but photoshopped the male leads so that they're smiling on the posters, and it looks ridiculous, and I love it.
Good.
It's
people
the
just
best
look for
middle
literally
finger.
anything that they can.
Right, this movie's gonna be fucking dope.
It doesn't matter what the movie is. It doesn't matter how good or bad it actually is. People will find something to be upset about.
That's true.
And I'm over it.
And listen, as a comic book fan, comic book fans are the worst. Not as bad as Star Wars fans.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's stuff that came out this week.
Not that long ago, or that's not that long from now. It's
March,
just a couple months.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
And then you know what that means.
And then we get to cry our hearts out in
Avengers 4.
In Avengers 4, yeah. Because we didn't cry enough during Avengers 3.
Nope. So which one of the OG Avengers cast is going to die?
All
of them?
I
think
who
die?
knows? I don't fucking know.
I think, without trying to like call all of them, I know for a fact that either Captain America or Iron Man or maybe both will be dead by the end of the fourth movie.
I have a very strong feeling that
it's probably going to be Captain America.
I would hate that. I mean, his arc is done.
Yeah, his arc's pretty much done.
His arc is finished. Mm-hmm. But I would hate that.
As much as I would love to.
Because his arc finished with him and Bucky, like, finally being able to hang out.
Yeah, and now Bucky's gone. And then Cap's going to be gone and Bucky's going to be back. And then the arc.
The only way I'd be happy with that is if Sam or Bucky takes over the mantle of Captain America.
I'd prefer Bucky to take it over first. I'd be fine with Sam doing it eventually, but we've been with Bucky longer. So I'd like to see him get it first, because Sam.
But Sam's been a hero longer than Bucky.
But like that's why I think the Bucky would be better at it, because it would be more of a redemption thing for him. I think that would, from a storytelling perspective, mean more.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited about it.
Did you hear that Henry Cavill's out as Superman?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And interestingly, right around the same time, Marvel started talking about making a movie with a British superhero. So I'm like, Captain Britain, anyone?
Yeah, see, because he's also you're familiar with the Witcher games?
Yeah,
You know about
he's
playing Geralt
yeah.
in the Netflix series, so that's why he can play Geralt is because he's not playing Superman anymore.
Right.
So like, I don't know why he stopped playing Superman, but I know that because he stopped playing Superman, he
I
can
remember
now be
hearing
Geralt.
something about it. They were like his
he had
agent was like,
he had scheduling
more money.
issues. No, he had scheduling
I don't
issues
remember.
for a cameo he was supposed to do in Shazam, but he couldn't do but because he was doing another movie at the time or something like that, he didn't have time to come do it for Shazam, and I guess it caused a huge problem or something like that.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be in like 12 seconds of Shazam, I guess.
He couldn't work out 12 seconds.
So I mean, I guess they fired him over 12 seconds, so or
I
something.
guess.
I don't know if he quit or if he got fired. I don't know.
Who
But
knows?
Seeing who's been,
I'm sure that
who's
TMZ
being,
will tell you.
Yeah, you know. But have you been seeing who's being suggested to replace him?
Who?
Well, there's a number of people, but near the top of the list, and I don't agree with this, and I'll explain why. Michael B. Jordan is at the top of that list.
Okay.
Near the top of that list, at least. I think he'd be a better Green Lantern, personally.
Yeah.
Because I had some conversations with some people about this, and they're like,
oh
no,
my
Idris
God.
Elba should be Green Lantern.
Hold
like,
on.
No.
No. Imagine Michael B. Jordan as Kyle Rayner Green Lantern.
Not as Jon Stewart?
Not as Jon Stewart Green Lantern, as Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. Because he has that, like, he has exactly that personality.
I figure, though,
Jon Stewart's
if he brought
personality is a little more dry.
Well, the Jon Stewart personality would be great as a carryover from the Killmonger personality he just did. It's pretty close.
But, like, I mean, he's also not going to want to, like,
do the same character again. Yeah, I mean, well, he wouldn't be doing the same character again. But yeah,
No,
I could see that.
I could see him as a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern more than I could see him as a Jon Stewart Green Lantern.
Maybe. But yeah, people I was talking to was like, no, Idris Elba should be Green Lantern. I was like, no, Idris Elba should be Martian Manhunter, and if they don't cast him as Martian Manhunter, they fucked up.
Ooh, he would be great.
He would be the best Martian Manhunter.
He would be great.
He would be incredible as Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Also, maybe as James Bond. I would love to see Idris Elba as James Bond. That'd be really cool.
Well, he almost was James Bond when Daniel Craig was about to retire the first time, right?
Yeah. Then now that Daniel Craig's like actually going to
He's
be
like,
retired.
actually, I'm going to do 18 more movies.
Well, like, never mind. I was going to say, didn't Pierce Brosnan do the same thing? I was like, no. He was gonna be James Bond and then wasn't, and that's why we had
right because he was in Remington Steele.
Yeah, that's why we had Timothy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have had, like, if he hadn't been in that TV show, then we could have had 2 more Pierce Brosnan and James Bonds.
Right, but we would have missed out on 2 Timothy Dalton James Bonds.
Yeah, I mean, not to knock Timothy Dalton at all.
But yeah, no,
honestly,
I think 100%. I would watch the
probably
holy shit out of an Idris Elba James Bond movie.
Absolutely, that would be really cool. Just because of if it had been like an older James Bond movie, like if it had been Roger Moore era or even Pierce Brosnan era, I probably wouldn't. But because of the Daniel Craig era, I'd be like, Idris Elba could absolutely.
It's that like level of.
It's a little bit more of a
action hero without being superhero.
Without being
James Bond,
without being campy.
Yeah,
which is what a lot of those old James Bond movies definitely were. So
For
yeah,
sure.
seeing the way that Daniel Craig's been doing James Bond, I'm like, no, Idris Elba would absolutely be great in this kind of role.
I agree.
Because it's the same amount of like dramatic acting that he'd have to do, and it would be able to sell it better without having to be funny and campy. Like, I mean, dry humor you could do, but you wouldn't have to do the ridiculous shit that Roger Moore did, and that even for that matter, Sean Connery did. Even I mean, Roger Moore's was worse, but
I agree. Yeah. Worst James Bond.
Fun fact:
rest in peace.
My least favorite James Bond. I won't say worst James Bond, but he was definitely my least favorite one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, George Lazenby was in for 1 movie, so I
didn't
does he
see
count?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
That movie wasn't great.
I didn't see that.
So I mean, I guess I'd say George Lazenby is my least favorite. Well, what the problem?
Hey,
was
listeners, let us know who the best James Bond was, and also who the worst James Bond was.
Yeah, and who also let us know who you think should play Superman, because I could see a number of people doing it.
I could see Michael B. Jordan playing Superman, though.
Yeah,
he's not.
but,
I mean, he's not that tall.
No, see, the thing is, with Michael B. Jordan is I'd rather see him play other characters though, because Superman isn't exactly the most interesting of characters.
That is also true.
I'd love to see.
He's kind of one note.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate for him to get typecast that way.
But Batman's kind of one note too.
Yeah, but there's a lot more layers to Batman than there is to Superman.
I guess.
I don't know. So I mean, also because Ben Affleck's probably going to be stepping down as Batman.
Oh
so,
yeah, I heard about that too.
So maybe we can get a John Hamm Batman.
Ooh, I'd watch it.
Yeah, or Jake Gyllenhaal was also rumored.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I'd watch either one of those guys play Batman.
Well, so anyway, so thanks for listening to the last episode of Post-Show Bullshit. Sorry there wasn't one last week.
It was that. That's what I was saying. As I was hoping people would actually think last week's was the last episode of Post-Show Bullshit, and they're like, "Oh my God, they were serious," and they're like, "Nah,
they were serious
psych,
this time. They were for real.
psych, we're back with some more PS."
But anyway, thanks for listening. If you listened to this far, because we jumped topics like crazy there at the end.
yeah, and this was a far more information-driven PSBS than
true.
it was.
That is true.
Just shooting the shit like we normally do.
Right. I think shooting the shit is easier when there's 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, also we can't be guaranteed that the third person is going to be as interested in informed on these topics as we are. So.
Oh, I wasn't informed on anything Ice 9 kills. At
Yeah,
all
but I was.
Yeah.
So like that's the point.
But anyhow, check us out on the internet. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at antifictioncast. Email us at antifictioncast@gmail.com. And check us out next week for our spookiest month of anti-fiction yet.
Ooh.
Ghosts, I believe, is the first one on the docket, and then we're alternating between ghosts and demonic possessions every other week until the end of October. So,
Well, you're the one with the schedule, so.
something like that. Yeah, I got an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. But anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.